Okay, the hair's finally down for a video. Let's all collectively hate it. No one even try to gaslight me in the comments by saying that you like it better than my longer hair, because that is a lie. That would be a lie. I had to straighten it today because it was like clean and my hair is naturally curly, so I always like straighten it first. It does look better when I like curl it, but that wasn't in the cards for today. But nothing we can do about it now. So instead, let's just talk about my April TBR that I have here. I have some really exciting books that I'm really looking forward to reading in April. I got a lot of good ones. I specifically have one here that I'm so excited. Actually, you know what? Let's just go ahead and kick it off because it's the first one that I have. It comes out, so this video is going up on the 1st. It comes out on the 4th, I think. The Nanny is Off Limits by QB Tyler. And I got this beautiful ARC copy of it. I'm still so excited to have this. If you guys don't know, QB Tyler is one of my all-time favorite authors. I have like literally almost all of her books, like even like all the editions. I think I'm like missing maybe like 2 special editions, 3 special editions maybe of her books, but literally I have read every single one of her books. I love every single one of her books. I love QB herself, and I was so excited that she sent me our copy of this. So this one is a new, obviously, nanny, boss romance, age gap romance, single dad, because obviously then she's the nanny for him. I'm so excited to read this. So I actually got this in the mail like a week ago, but I have not had time to read it since I got it, but I cannot wait. This is like one of my most highly anticipated releases of the year. And yeah, I mean, I think he's like this rich single dad and she's his new nanny, and like they're not supposed to be together, but then obviously they end up falling in love. I don't really even know, because here's the thing with authors that I love, which is kind of similar to the next book that I'm going to talk about. Like my auto read authors, I like don't always like the synopses don't stick in my head, because I'm like, I'm gonna read it anyways. Like I don't care what it is, I'm going to read it. That's kind of how I feel about this book. It's a nanny age gap romance from QB. Like I don't need to be told anymore. I'm gonna read it. Same with Aspen by Fiona Cole. I am so excited to be getting a new Fiona Cole book. Like this is so exciting to be getting a new Fiona Cole book. She has not published a book in I think like almost 2 years, maybe. It's been so long. So this is her new release, and it is an age gap billionaire BDSM romance, I think. Again, this is another one where I don't even quite remember the synopsis either, because I was just so excited and overwhelmed to see Fiona Cole even announce that she was releasing a new book that I don't care what it's about. I'm going to be picking it up. I'm going to be reading it. I love this cover. Also, Fiona Cole has always had beautiful covers. Like I said, I'm sorry. I'm ill prepared to speak to the synopses of this one as well, but I don't care. I'm going to read it. Next up, we have book number 11. We're up to 11, Misfits Like Us by Christen. This is the 11th book in the Like Us series, which is a spin-off of the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series. It is all of those couples' children and their bodyguard romances. And this one specifically is Luna Hale, which is Lily and Lo's, one of their daughters. I think their oldest daughter. And then her bodyguard, Paul Donnelly, which I'm so excited for their romance. We've obviously seen glimpses of the 2 of their characters throughout the other books, but specifically I'm so invested in Donnelly, and I cannot wait to like get inside his head and read more about him. Like he is one of the side characters that has genuinely like piqued my interest the most, so I'm really excited to get his romance along with Luna, obviously, and also see more of Lily and Lo, because you do always get quite a bit of the parents in their kids' books. So I'm really excited to get some more Lily and Lo action in these. And yeah, I don't really know much else or like what else I can say, because like it is the 11th book in a series. But yeah, they're obviously not supposed to be together, but that's not gonna matter. So anyways, I just literally like a couple hours ago finished the end of Infamous Like Us, which was 10. So I'm like, perfect, I can add this one to the list when I get home to film. So got number 11 on there. Next up, I have For the Fans by Nyla K. So this book was actually on my March TBR. It was like from the jar, which this is your TBR jar of Rex that you guys gave me. I pulled it last month and I did not get around to it. Mostly, I didn't get around to a lot of books. I think I only read 6 books in March because it was a really busy writing month for me. I was like doing my own self-edits on, like finishing Goalie, doing my own self-edits on Goalie before I sent it off to my editor. So I didn't have a ton of time to read. And this book's a chunker. It's like 700 pages. So I unfortunately did not get around to this one. However, it is still a high priority read for me, and one that I genuinely think I'm going to be wanting to read this month. I'm currently reading Kiss the Villain by Reena, which is MM, so I just feel like I'm gonna want like another MM book to read after I finish that one. So I'm putting this one on the list. It is a stepbrothers MM romance where I don't think they like grew up together. I think their parents got married like really like when they were already adults or something. Right? Or like they're like college age, and in order to get through college they end up creating an OnlyFans account to like sustain them, and then they like fall in love over the course of that. I don't know. The only thing that I do know is that you guys tell me over and over and over again how much I'm gonna love this book. It was always this one and the Torment duet, and there's and Hills of Shivers and Shadows by Pam Godwin. I feel like you guys tell me over and over and over again how much I'm gonna love them. And listen, I read the Torment duet finally at the beginning of the year, and yeah, y'all were right on that one. So I trust you. It's just this is a very long book, so I'm keeping it on the priority TBR, keeping it up on the radar. So I'm not forgetting about it for all of you who sent it in for the TBR jar and didn't get to it last month. So I'm putting it back on here. Next up, I have King of Sloth by Anna Huang to read. So this is the 4th book in the Kings of Sin series. This is one that, again, has been a high priority TBR item of mine since it came out, but I just have never gotten around to it. But because King of Envy, which is book 5, that one comes out this month, and I want to keep on top of the series. I don't want to fall too far behind, so I'm putting King of Sloth on here, and I'm really excited because Sloane was a side character again that I was really excited for. So she is she like a PR firm? I think she's like a PR person, but she gave me like very Black Cat energy as a side character, and she gets like assigned to kind of revamp the image of this one like billionaire playboy like nepo baby type Xavier, right? And she gets assigned to like kind of fix his public image, and he just is like kind of seemingly, I'm sure that's not all to him, but like seemingly very like party boy, just like blowing his money kind of business. And obviously Sloane is like not gonna put up with that, and that's their romance. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one. Like I said, I just don't want to fall too far behind because we've done that before, and let's not let that happen again. This is the last of my like actual physical books that I have here, but we had a lot. Pirate Girls, also by Penelope Douglas, another one where when this came out last summer, I was so excited to drop everything and start it. However, this came out right after I finished God of Fury, and that just put me in like I had binged the Legacy of God series, as we know. And that put me in the worst reading slump. And I didn't want to take that out on Penelope Douglas, not on my girl. So I put this aside because I didn't want that slump to affect it, because y'all know Penelope Douglas up there with Miss QB, up there. Like, they're my favorites. So I didn't want to take it out on this book, but this is the 2nd book in the Hellbent series, which again is a 2nd generation series of the Fallaway series, which I don't think you have to read the Fallaway series in order to read this one. It probably just gives like a richer idea of the characters and stuff, and obviously because it is 2nd generation. So this one, I think Cade and Hunter are, so our hero, I think Cade is the main hero in this one, right? Why does it have both their names? I thought Cade was the hero in this one. I could be wrong though, because it's been a long time since I've like thought about this. But Dylan, our heroine, is Jared and Tate's daughter, and Cade, I think, is what's his name? Maddock and Fallon's sons. And there's like some like mystery stuff kind of like entwined, or at least there was in the 1st book, so I'm assuming that's going to continue on in this one. But yeah, I honestly don't really, again, remember all that much about what this one was about. Sorry, you're not here for like a full-blown synopsis though. You can go and look it up yourself. But yeah, I'm excited to read that one. Okay, next we got The Lines We Cross by Rachel Tork. So this one I had forgotten about. It was buried in my Goodreads, and this one is a student teacher book that was released at the beginning of this year. And I think it's I could be wrong, but I think it's a music student and teacher, which I love even more. Hello, Dark Notes and Sin and Discipline. But this one, so I think our heroine, I don't know, does she just like happen to meet our hero like beforehand, like before their student I think they maybe know each other before their student teacher, but then they find out that they're student teacher, and then they like can't be together. I can't remember now. And I'm pretty sure our hero, isn't he like very tortured? I mean, I think. I could be wrong on that, but once again, you say student teacher, what do I say? Sold. There's that one. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. We'll just leave it at that for that. Next up, I want to read Tempted by Deception by Reena Kent. Like I said, I'm reading Kiss the Villain, and I have a feeling I'm just gonna want more Reena Kent in my life. So since, cause Beautiful Venom doesn't come out until the end of May, I'm gonna go back to the Deception trilogy, which I still have to finish. I started it last year and I didn't finish it, so I'm ready to finish it this year. So Tempted by Deception is book 2. It will immediately pick up after book 1. Like, book 1 ended on a cliffhanger and it follows the same couple the whole time, so I can't really say anything about this book. But the first one is a mafia, kind of like forced marriage a little bit. So Jeremy basically, so he's the head of the mafia. Why do I always think that Jeremy is Adrian? That's his son. It's Adrian's book. Like Russian mafia, right? And Leah is homeless, living on the streets, and all of a sudden Jeremy finds her and is like, hey, listen, you are a dead ringer for my wife, and like she's no longer with us. So I need you to come and pretend to be her. Like, take her place. You're like my wife's doppelganger. So what a treat that I found you, that now you can just come and pretend to be my wife. And she's like, well, I'm not going to do that. And then he blackmails her into doing it, and she does. So it ends up being their romance as it goes on. And yeah, like I said, book 1 ended on a big cliffhanger, and I was very excited to keep going. But once again, that Legacy of Gods reading slump killed me last year. So I didn't keep going because, again, I didn't want to take it out on that. But I am really excited to finally keep going now. Next up, Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. So I am rereading the Throne of Glass series on audio right now, and finally my audio hours just replenished on my Spotify like 2 days ago. So I'm gonna keep going with this series. Obviously, we already know I have read the Throne of Glass series multiple times already, which is why I'm like, okay, if you're gonna reread it on audio, so that way you're not just like spending a whole bunch of time like eyeball reading the books, and like you can actually read them listening. So here's the thing, Throne of Glass, I love it, okay? I love this series, and yeah, it's a fantasy series with Fae. Selena Sardathian is this assassin who then is taken to become the king's champion, to then become like the king's personal assassin, and it's kind of like in a bit of like a trial type setting in book 1, and then in book 2 that continues. And if you know, you know, just like the entire journey of these books. I love them. I don't need to like explain any more on them. They're just like literally my all-time favorite. It's my all-time favorite fantasy series, and I was just craving being back with them. So we're doing an audio reread. Next up, I have Broken by Andi Jaxon. So this is another, I don't know if Andi Jaxon only writes MM, but it is another MM romance from her, because I've read Hidden Scars. That was one of my favorites. That's an MM hockey romance. And this one though, it's not a sport. So this one, our hero, maybe he is an athlete, but I think he has like a sex tape that ends up getting released to the world and like ends up kind of damaging his image, and in order to keep his trust fund, I think, or something along those lines, he ends up having to go and live on like this private island. Like, they kind of like send him away to just keep him like secluded and away from getting in more trouble. And he ends up agreeing to do that, but then when he gets there, he ends up seeing like the guy that is like from his past that like broke his heart previously is also there, and like they couldn't be together. I don't know for what reason why they couldn't in the past, but they like still can't be together in the present. But now they have this like forced proximity where they're both forced to be together on this island. I don't know, it sounded really good. I literally just found it, like one of my friends on Goodreads had posted like some highlights from it, and because I loved Hidden Scars so much, I was like, oh, let me check out what this is about. Synopsis sounded really good. Next up then, I know some of you are going to be excited about this one. Beautiful Fiend by Lola King. I'm finally putting this one on a TBR. It is one that I have gotten, which I think it's actually in this jar here. I've gotten this one wrecked to me a bunch of times, and I just, have always put it off for no reason. It's just, just in the scheme of things, I always end up just having other books that fall top of mind. But this one I'm finally putting on because of a little push also from Nikki and Bookland. She has been binging and loving like Lola King's backlist. So it's not that I didn't trust you guys. It was just more so you guys then coupled with her reading it. It's just like, okay, I can't ignore it anymore. So let's put it on the list. So I think this is a enemies to lovers, like, isn't this a university or something, like a college bully romance, if I'm not mistaken? When Nikki and I talked last, all she said was that like all of the heroes are like insanely over the top possessive, which I love. I'm a sucker for that. So I'm putting it on the list. Okay, and that is all of my regular TBR, and now we have my jars. So if you are new here, I have a jar of my physical TBR and a jar of your guys' recommendations. So let's do the physical, even though I already have a bunch of physical books on my TBR this month, although I'll probably end up, I think most of them are in KU. So I'll probably end up reading most. Also, I don't want to read The Nanny is Off Limits and the ARC one. I want to keep that all beautiful. Okay. See, anyways, what else I get to make my way through it. Blood Orange. What is Blood Orange? What is that? I didn't put the author's name on here. What is Blood Orange? It must be down here somewhere because up there is all of my like Blood Orange. Oh my god, duh. It's the Karina Halley. Isn't this a student teacher? Karina Halley book? Oh, he's a vampire. Okay. It is a student teacher. Oh, she's a student of music. Okay, so listen up here. Hero fell in love with a woman he could never have. So when it was uncovered, she was murdered and he was cursed to be a vampire. And then every single lifetime or over the centuries, he finds her again and again and always loses her again and again until he loses his humanity. And then one day she came back into his life, a student studying under him at a conservatory in Venice, Italy. Okay. Oh, but he didn't recognize his mate at all because she had to hide her true self because she came back as a witch who was supposed to kill him. Okay, this sounds really good. Here's my thing, y'all know. I love Karina Halley's books and I love her writing, but I have said it before, vampires are not my favorite. They are not my favorite. It's something about the blood. I don't know. I've never been a huge vampire person. However, I am open to giving this a go because I love student teacher and because I love Karina Halley. So we're gonna roll with it. So, okay, Blood Orange. Let's mark that. Okay. And then, so that is physical TBR jar. Now your jar of Rex. So if you have any new ones that you want me to add, I think I always had you guys like going back to that old video. But honestly, if you just comment like something like with a jar emoji, so that way at least I can see that and like pick that out a little bit easier because I am bad about like going through comments. So just make it stand out a little bit. Just put like for a TBR jar or something if you have one that you want me to add to the jar. But let's see what we have. Another thick boy. Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. Actually, I should have included this one earlier when I was talking about books that you guys always like tell me to read because Binding 13 is also always in there. That's ironic because when I was building out this TBR, I saw that on my, like in my Goodreads and I thought about putting this one on, but then I was like, oh, because it's so big, like I don't want to put another big book on the April TBR, but hey, the slip has spoken, so we're gonna put it on here. So this one it's a rugby romance, but like aren't they in high school? I think I genuinely think I'm going to really like this book when it's time for me to read it. It's just that they're so long and the fact that they're so young kind of like gives me pause. That's the only thing that's kind of giving me pause, just because I don't really like read books where they're like in high school anymore. But listen, everyone loves them. I'm willing to give it a go. That is my April TBR. On Friday, I'm going to have my March wrap up posted. But otherwise after that, I'm not 100% sure what's all in order. So anyways, that is it for today's video and I will see you when I see ya.